Graham, the Arsenal Insider wrote an article that suggested, Steve Bruce said that what Arteta's done with Declan Rice this season has changed everything for them. And that's the reason that Declan Rice is suddenly getting so many more goals, so many more assists, and is changing the way Arsenal are playing. Can you talk us through that?
Yeah, I think we are seeing more like the West Ham version of Declan Rice, where he could get forward, etc. And the arrival of Zubimendi has been key to that. Zubimendi was always being brought in to play this talented number 6 role, the quarterback role, as it were. And we saw him do it for Spain, didn't we, in the last Euros, and he did it with great aplomb when everyone wondered, oh, how's Rodri going to be replaced? And it was Zubimendi, and he did it in fine style. And yeah, he's coming to Arsenal. He's fitted like a hand in a glove, and it goes back to their recruitment. Everything's working out really well. You know, they're without Martin Odegaard, who we've lavish praise on in recent episodes. But yeah, this whole squad at Arsenal is so deep. And Rice, yeah, to see Declan Rice step up, the fullbacks, it was great to see some of the media tagging on to our Calafiori and Timberline, which we ran a few weeks ago, that they're playing so well. But yeah, it wasn't an imperious performance, but it really did look like, to me, it just rang of it almost like a Sir Alex Ferguson Manchester United performance from back in the day, Sam, where they went there, as soon as they took the lead, they weren't getting beat, but they weren't overly negative. They just controlled the game from start to finish. And they do look like champions-elect to me. They really do look that good. They look like an absolute Rolls Royce at the minute, and they're not even out of first gear. They look so good at the minute.
I want to talk to Kieran about Declan Rice, but just quickly, because you said they don't look negative. Both Lee Dixon and Gary Neville, though, said in their assessment of the game that maybe this Arsenal team could be too cautious and they don't take enough risks. Do you think that's fair?
Possibly, but I think with that, they're getting used to playing with Gyökeres. Again, something we've alluded to in previous episodes, and they're just getting used to how he's played, running behind. But yeah, and obviously getting used to Eze when he's replacing Odegaard. They're just getting used to new players in the squad. I still think they could do with another left-sider. Did they go and look at Rodrigo from Real Madrid in January, who's not very happy where he is? Is there that cherry on the top signing that Arsenal could still make? I think there is. But yeah, maybe a little bit over. I don't think they're too over negative though, because I think they do like to get Calafiori forward when we see things. I just think they're not getting out first gear because they don't need to.
Kieran, so let's talk about Declan Rice and his £100 million price tag. Do players, because when we talk about it as fans, we talk about players as having to justify their price tag. In terms of a club's investment, do players have to do something to generate that money back, or is that not how clubs see it? And if that is the viewpoint, what is success for Declan Rice to have been worth £100 million?
Success for Declan Rice from Arsenal's perspective is for Arsenal to qualify on a regular basis for the Champions League. Winning the Premier League is for the fans. The additional money that you get, and I spoke to somebody at a club who said, actually, we'd rather finish second or third because the players get big bonuses for winning the Premier League. The football club gets an extra £3.5 million. So sometimes you might get some bonuses from sponsors, but sometimes not. So on that basis, I think it's been a spectacular success, the recruitment of Declan Rice, because Arsenal have gone from a club who, remember, they went from that period sort of 2016 onwards where they weren't qualifying for the Champions League. And what we also saw, as far as my spreadsheet was concerned, was that their commercial income was flatlining because the sponsors didn't want to get involved with Arsenal. They felt that they were being quoted too big a price for not enough return and not enough exposure. So it's been a fantastic signing. From a financial point of view, you spread it over the life of the contract, so it's 20 million a year in terms of amortized cost. You get a minimum of 40 million in terms of prize money from UEFA itself for qualifying for the Champions League, plus under the expanded Swiss model, Arsenal are probably making somewhere in the region of 6 to 7 million in gate receipts from each Tuesday or Wednesday night. Again, when you talk to my fellow nerds who work in commercial departments, they say this is fantastic. It was actually quite tricky when Arsenal were only qualifying for the Europa League or conference. If you're trying to sell a box and you've got Cyprus's third best team coming to the Emirates on a Thursday evening, you have to drop your price or you don't sell. Champions League, it sells itself. So the investment has more than paid off through the finances. Clearly, there's more than one player that makes up a squad, but Arsenal's investment is still relatively low compared to some of the other clubs with whom that they consider to be their peer group. Chelsea's squad from their accounts is probably somewhere in the region of 1.6, 1.7 billion. Arsenal's is probably no more than half that.
I have to say, and I'm sure Graeme picked up on this as well, it's very depressing that you've spoken to someone that works at a football club whose view is, we don't want to pay those bonuses to win the Premier League. We're better off to come second or third. That's not a football person.
That's an accountant.
I just thought me and Kieran are speaking to very different people at these football clubs.
Yeah, absolutely insane. Graeme, talk to us about this Arsenal side. There's been a lot of pressure on Mikel Arteta and the way that the team has evolved over the last 3 years and the criticism of finishing second. But they've now gone 7 games in all competitions where they've won and not conceded a goal. Is this destiny? Is this Arteta's team being built? Is this what we should have expected? Or at some point, like all teams, will the wheels come off just a little bit?
I don't see the wheels coming off at the moment. But then again, I probably said the same about Liverpool 6 weeks ago. I think Arsenal could be building a dynasty here under Mikel Arteta. If, as expected, to get Bukayo Saka to sign his new deal in the coming weeks before January, which we think will happen. I think they're setting themselves up for, a decade of success here. They really are. They are. The squad building they've done. Andrea Berta's coming. It's been such a slick transition from Edu to Andrea Berta. It's been fantastic for them. The way they're operating now. Josh Kroenke, the owners, seem more on board. The fans are happy with the owners. Fans are always happy when they're winning, aren't they? It's no surprise there. So everything about Arsenal is coming together, both off the pitch, on the pitch. I think there's a real chance of an Arsenal dynasty coming here.
If that's the case, Kieran, how easy is it from a financial perspective for them to keep that going? Because if people start moving on, at some point, some of the players will move on. How difficult is it to maintain it if we've got some sort of Arsenal dynasty?
Well, you can create a virtuous circle. Making that qualification for Champions League places, instead of 1 year in every 2, if it becomes 4 years out of 5, the financial advantage that it gives you is significant. It also makes the club more of a magnet. Whilst I absolutely agree with Graeme in the sense that I clearly talk to the wrong people at football clubs, football players want to win things. So if they've won the Premier League, if they've made the finals stages of the Champions League, then that's a club which becomes attractive to other players, because when you reflect on your career and you look back, it's not going to be you don't stick your pay slips up against the wall. You stick your trophies and your caps and your mementos of achievements. And that's what the players are looking for. So once you start that momentum, it does become possible to maintain it. At the same time, as Liverpool are finding this season, retaining the Premier League is not easy. So I think it will be fascinating should Arsenal continue this level of form. And I was at the Emirates last Wednesday, and when in the second half they bring off the bench Rice, Gabriel, Tombra, Trossard and Saka, you realise that's a pretty strong squad. They do look in a so you use success to generate success. It won't be easy, because we have seen substantial investment from those clubs who have got financial backing from people for whom the finances are a non-issue. But it can be achieved, and they do have the London factor as well, which is attractive to sponsors, it's attractive to players, it's attractive to many stakeholders in the game.